Hey boys and girls, welcome back to a new video. We've made some progress and we've got some goodies. So in the last video you'd have seen me start to cut into the coupe. We have definitely progressed from there. It's escalated even more, but you know, such is life. Anyway, I'll show you what I've been up to. So there was a couple of holes, a fairly big one here. That got cut out and I've welded in a new piece of metal. Obviously that needs grinding down and making it look flush. There's one there was a small hole which I've already replaced and ground down and got it looking pretty flush, so happy with that. This I'm going to still wire wheel and give it a rust treatment, just to, there's a little bit of stuff lingering, nothing too serious, but that's that side done. The real issue obviously was up front. So if you remember, it was pretty rusty. That's what the floor pan looked like. So obviously I had this whacking great hole here. There was a bung, but obviously it's rotten, and this inner seal, and also the accelerator pedal had a nice hole in it. So it looked like that from underneath, it looked like that from on top. So that's now cut out. All of this had to come out as well. Some of this stuff I've had to save because I'm going to use it to make templates for new bits and pieces. But the main shocking part was this front section, which sits in the inner wing. Obviously we had those holes there, but the underside was absolutely shot. Someone's obviously put some underseal on it, which has done nothing. And yeah, it was shot. So I need to source one of these off a donor car. So yeah, hopefully I can find one of them. Hopefully one of my mates comes through and sorts us out with a new one, because that's not repairable. It's absolutely shot. That said, I probably could make it because it's not that complex. It's essentially all flat with a simple join. So 1, 2, 3, and then that's a flat piece and a slight curve down there. But there's a bit of time in making that, so if I can pull a clean one off a car, then that would be my preference. But obviously that's no good, so I'll show you quickly what the car looks like in its current state. I have decided that this carpet's going to come out because I don't want that rot to happen again, so I need to see if there's a leak. Someone said on the forums the other day about heater matrix seal leaking, which I have heard of before. So if that was the culprit, then obviously I want to catch that before it causes it again, and the carpet is obviously soaked, so I'm going to lift this whole carpet out at some point. So that's another job. But yeah, rot wise, that's come out, a good chunk of the inner seal, most of the floor pan, and then on the outside, yeah, it escalated pretty quickly. So there's the front section. We had to take a fair amount out of this corner piece up here. Obviously there's our inner seal, that line there. This is the jacking point, or what's left of it. I just tried to cut out anything that was rusty or serious rot. Obviously there might be a little bit surface, but all that can be wire wheeled off. So that's now back to clean metal. Thankfully this is all solid and yeah, usable. It's escalated definitely, but it is what it is. The outer seal was actually pretty clean up to here, but there was quite a lot of rot on this bottom side, so it just makes sense just to square it all off. Anyway, that's where all of that is. So I need to get some weld through primer because I haven't got any, and start making some patch panels. So we're well underway. Some other goodies turned up. So if you remember in the previous video I had the O2 sensor issue. Anyway, I decided to try and get a good used working second-hand one, and there's a guy on eBay, I do know him, I've met him before. Wheels is his company, he's based in Northern Ireland. He breaks them, and I managed to buy a genuine sensor for, I think it's 30 quid delivered off eBay. So if it doesn't work, obviously you get your money back. That's the way eBay works. But I just figured for an O2 sensor I'm happy paying 30 quid. A new genuine one, I think it was 100 quid or 106 quid, something like that. So more than happy. So first job, let's get that on the car. At least then that'll be done and we can chuck all this crap back together, just to sort of tick one thing off the list. So before I started filming, I was thinking, oh, I've never done an unboxing video on YouTube, so I hope you're excited. I've got an O2 sensor and I'm going to unbox it, so be prepared. It's not even brand new. I hope you're on the edge of your sofa. Ta-da! Our new second-hand O2 sensor. So let's chuck her in and hopefully she fixes our code. And I'm not going to film this for the 14th millionth time. I'm sure you've seen enough O2 sensor fitting shenanigans. Woohoo! Our O2 sensor problem, it's gone. So just to prove it, there she is. I don't think I was that clear in the last video, but just because I wanted to mention this one. So this plug, the front plug, is cylinders 4, 5 and 6, so bank 2. So it's easy to get them messed up, so just remember that moving forward. But this front plug is the back manifold. Anyway, engine now runs pucker. So I tested it off camera. She runs sweet, so that's very good news. Obviously we've still got the leaky rad on the front to replace at some point, which is super annoying because the rad looks like it's pretty new, but anyway, it is what it is. So we will have to figure that out. I've got a good non-leaking used one which I'm going to put in there, but yeah, we'll revisit that at a later date. Anyway, let's make some plates and start getting this thing looking less like a hole. I am slightly concerned at the other side, and I've just laid under it and I can see a hole on this the near side jacking point. So I'm like, it's just going to escalate. But what I might do is just patch the hole, do a temporary fix to get for an MOT because the jacking point is still there, and then revisit that at a later date, because I don't know if I fancy doing all of this in January. I think I'm just going to do this one properly. I'd rather do one properly, patch that side kind of half-assed just to get it through an MOT, and then come and revisit it when I've got a bit more enthusiasm. I've got other projects in waiting, so I really need to get this one on the road and MOT. So yeah, anyway, let's make some plates up. So first things first, we're going to try and make the flat part of the floor where that holds the accelerator pedal. So we're going to build that, and then we should be able to build out from there. So that's kind of the first bit to get in or put in, seeing as it's the last bit I cut out. So I've got a lovely Z3 bonnet for scrap. It's got some rust and stuff on it, so it's no good to anyone. So what I've done is that's now my donor metal, because it's the same metal or same thickness as the floor, believe it or not. So what I've done initially, the floor itself comes across, and then it's not actually the inner sill, it's not welded to it, it's folded in. So this is the panel I've cut. So I've matched that inside edge there or thereabouts, and then what I need to do now is I need to mark where I'm going to fold, because this bit needs to fold up. So I've left this edge a little bit long. Obviously I'm not going to be able to get this fold into it, so basically from here, this is going to be a nice, I'm going to cut along here, discard that piece. This is going to then be a nice 90-degree fold, and then this piece here I'll add as a separate bit to replicate this lip and basically just weld it back on. And then I should have that floor piece to weld in. The reason for doing this separately is obviously there's quite a curve on this last edge. If I try and fold this piece up, because bear in mind it doesn't look like there's not much there, but this lip is probably, it needs to be up there, not right at the front, but yeah, anyway, so I'm just going to do it as a separate piece. So we'll get that time lapse and you can watch me trim that up. So to get this in position, I've butted it against the back of the floor on the inside edge because I'm not going to touch them. Obviously I use my original cutout to replicate it. So then this front edge is a tiny bit long, but once you take that fold into account, that's then perfect, and it will sit, it will butt to this edge, which is nice. And then what you can see is, here's the inner sill. So from the factory, this inner sill piece was one part. So I'm gonna put a cut in this, so this floor piece can be welded up to there. Again, that'll be butted up. And then this front piece, it was rotten a lot higher, and because of this curve, I'm gonna do this in a separate piece. So once this is folded, this lower piece, I'll then make a fillet that I can then weld to this piece off the car before I put it back on. So all I've done really is just put some magnets on there to get it roughly in place, butted it up, and then what I've done is I've marked, you can see there where the fold is, and then just down there. So then I'll cut this, I'll draw a straight line, I'll cut this piece out, and then I'll fold that up and over, and then that gets me the bulk of the floor piece done. So you can kind of see where I've got to. I've wire wheeled all of the paint off the inside because there's a couple of layers of paint there which we just don't need. So that's where our plate is. It fits lovely and tight to this line here and this line here. I need to make a cut through here so that this line matches the inner sill, but I want to butt that, I don't want to overlap it. So before I can do that, because I want this to be the right height, what I need to do really is run some tacks along this inside edge to start getting this curve. Then once I've got the curve, it should then stick this in the right position. So that's the next plan. And then once that's tacked in, I can put a cut in here so it matches this, and then obviously cut vertically down here so this edge matches this. And then that's that piece done. And then we can look at a second piece to tie this piece into this. Well, I'm literally only going to tack this in place because I then want to come along, make that panel, tack this piece to that, and then I'll take that off, weld that off the car, because welding off the car is a lot easier, and then we can properly weld the thing in. There's going to be a little bit of work I need to do because I got a bit happy with the grinder and went a bit further back because there's a little pinhole here, but I'll make a separate piece to go in that. That's no biggie. That's now tacked in place. You can see the fitment's pretty good, pretty tight all around. I still need to prep all of this surface before I weld them properly, but obviously this is just temporary so I can start to make the rest of my pieces. So next job, we're going to put a mark here to score to show that line where we're going to cut off. Right, we've made some good progress. So we've made this flat panel. I'll be honest, I haven't filmed that much of it. I just want to crack on and get it done. I've done it over multiple days. I've been so busy this week. Anyway, just to give you an idea, this big flat piece and this part of the inner sill is one, so that's just got a simple fold on it. The reason why this piece is then separate is because if you look, the floor's got a curve on it, so I wouldn't be able to do that bend and get this curve at the same time. So that's a separate piece. I did have to put this on separately. I shouldn't have done, but I completely forgot to add it. So, and that's where your wing bolt's on. So that's a separate piece. Then you've got a little fold on there for the front box section. Dressed up the weld, didn't go too crazy. It's all part of the floor, so you're not really going to see it. But yeah, that's all now done. All ready to go in the car. And then I had a moment and I was like, shit, I haven't added the accelerator pedal. So obviously that one is shot. So a good mate of mine came through and had a donor car. I could cut one out, so nice clean one. So all I've done is I've cut it. If you see, there's quite a, it's sort of raised up. So where it's flat, I cut, and then I overlaid this on this floor, new piece. I know this edge is the same as that edge. Cut through both layers, and then this one basically sits in there. It's welded like that, and then that way the pedal should be relatively the same position as the original one. If yours isn't that shot, you could just cut this here and here and weld it into your floor. But I had this, and the arse ache of trying to bend this up and make it look right, I was like, look, I've got a donor cut, so I'm just going to weld that in, and then this panel can actually go in the car at last. Right, that's pretty much as far as I need to go with that. I'm not that fussed about flattening every single weld on it. I'm not the neatest welder in the world. But yeah, that's in there. I'm still going to wire wheel it, clean it up a bit more once it's on the car. But yeah, that now roughly replicates that. So there's the old panel. Obviously then that's then got the inner seal built up with it, and the accelerator pedal, so that sits something like that. Yeah, so it's pretty much as per the original, which is nice. So yeah, next job, we'll get that in the car. That'll be the next video. I'll get that welded in. It's a bit late in the day now to weld that because I want to go home soon. But anyway, that's the floor panel now made. Probably pretty happy with it. There's always room for improvement. Considering I've got limited tools, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. The main thing is it'll be in there all nice and neat, watertight. Obviously seam seal any edges that have got welds on, so they're protected and sealed up, and then a good coating of a primer, etc. Hope you enjoy the content. I'll get another video out in the next week or so once I've smashed this bit in, and then get the outer seal made up. I managed to get some cuts from a friend's car as well, so I've got, I mean, they're not perfect, they need some repair work, but they're far better than what I've got. So stuff like the outer seal and stuff, I can add that all back in because all mine was rotten, so that's to come. I've had a bit of a poke around on the rest of the car. The jacking points, rear jacking points need doing, there's no doubt about it. So it looks like I'm going to be welding for weeks and weeks more to come, unfortunately. But anyway, at least one corner will look pretty. We'll get that in the car and that'll be done. So yeah, stay tuned. Watch out for the next video, and wish me luck because I'm going to need it because this is long. So yeah, cheers for watching, guys.